This is Kristine with Hokema Sewing and Vacuum in Redding, California, and I am here to help you troubleshoot things that could go wrong with your machine that you could probably fix at home. What I'm going to show you is what we do every time you bring a machine to us and you tell us we have certain problems. These are the things I'm going to look for. So come along with me and I'm going to show you. Okay, one of the things we get people that come in for is they're telling me their machine won't sew, or that they can't select a certain stitch. And what I'm going to look for first is this little guy right here, because sometimes we don't notice that this has been locked over. This is telling the machine that we're going to wind a bobbin, so it isn't going to let me do, well, I can change a stitch. If I go to sew, it's not going to sew. It's just going to wind a bobbin, and sometimes we don't catch that. So that's one of the things I'm going to look for. Now, if you tell me your machine is throwing big loops, and usually what this conversation sounds like is somebody comes in and says, my bobbin isn't working right, the bobbin area is all messed up, the bobbin tension is all messed up, and we're going to ask a couple of questions. Are you looking at big loopies on the bottom? Loopies, by the way, is a technical term. If you are finding big loopies on the bottom, I'm actually going to look at what's going on up here. Okay, that usually means we have done one of two things. We have either missed our tension discs, which actually live in here, or we have missed our take-up lever, which lives in here on the other side. Either one of those will keep us from having proper tension. The other thing I'm going to look for is to see what we have set here. I can't tell you the number of times I have seen people come in with their tension set at 0. If this is set at 0, the tension discs can't do their job. We're going to move those back to where they belong almost universally, and that's 4. Okay? The thing to know about your tension and the tension discs here, this is not about your fabric. This is about your thread. Most of our standard sewing thread is going to want us at a 4. Okay? Now, if you're seeing teeny tiny little loops, that might be tension. But if we're seeing big loops, it's usually a threading issue. So that's something we're going to look for. Now, if you're telling me the thread isn't picking up, there's some things I'm going to look for. I am going to look for these as well and make sure that it's in the tension or the take-up lever, but I'm also going to check my needle here. And something you may not be aware of is that there is a groove on the front of the needle, and that's what I'm going to feel for. I'm going to run my fingernail down there and make sure that the needle is situated correctly. So what I should feel is a little groove that my fingernail can slip into, and then on the back, if I feel it, right down here where the eye of the needle is, there's something called a scarf, and it's just a little indentation. That's all I'm looking for. The other thing I might look for, and at this point I'm going to put my foot down, is I'm going to run my fingernail along my needle, and I'm feeling for a burr. That happens usually when a nail or a needle is getting close to the end of its life. It's kind of been beaten down, and it might be causing problems for us. So that's another thing I'm going to look at. Now on this machine, which is our Baby Lock Jubilant, I can also remove this very easily without getting in here with a screwdriver. So the other thing I'm going to come in and check is my bobbin case. And I am going to look at my bobbin case, and I'm going to feel all around here to see if I have any needle strikes, because those are areas that thread can get hung up on. Sometimes we can file them down if we have them. Sometimes we just need to replace the bobbin case. We usually have these in stock, by the way. Then the other thing I'm going to look for while I have this open is I'm going to look down in here, and I'm going to look and see how much debris I have in there. Whether or not I really think this needs to go see our tech because it's time for a good cleaning, or whether I can get away with just a little bit of maintenance. By the way, this kind of maintenance is fair game for you. You should be doing this every couple of bobbin changes. And you can see I've got a little bit of lint there even on my floor model, but we don't really sew on that much. This does build up, and you want to make sure that that area stays clear, and you want to make sure that your feed dogs stay clear. You can actually create felt in there that'll prevent the feed dogs from moving, and if too much gets in there, we can break our feed dogs, and we don't want to do that. So that's just kind of the basics of the things that we look for here at the counter to see if we can send you home with your machine ready to go, or whether we need to check it in for a spa day. This is Kristine with Hokemas. We'll see you soon.